John Singer Sargent. There is no greater art than a great portrait, declared the writer James Wood. The quote is from New Literary History, written by Ruth Yeasel. John Singer Sargent was a representational painter. He worked in the mediums of watercolor, oil on canvas, and charcoal drawings. He made his fame and fortune by painting portraits of high society people, presidents, industrialists, beautiful women, and children. His work was in demand on both sides of the Atlantic. He was the most celebrated painter in the Edwardian age. John Singer Sargent was born in 1856 in Florence, Italy. His parents were living a expatriate lifestyle, and they imposed it on him. He didn't see the United States until he was 20. He was homeschooled by his parents, and he could speak French, German, Italian, and English. In 1874, he enters the private independent studio of Corrales Duran. It is here where he learns the alla prima method of painting. He's also influenced by Diego Velázquez, the Spanish master, who Corrales Duran admired. He's also influenced by Impressionism, Cubism, and Fauvism. In 1884, he completes the portrait of Madame X. Madame Pierre Gautreau was from Louisiana and was known in Paris for her great beauty. Sargent painted her on a 7-foot canvas, hoped that this would enlarge his reputation and increase his commissions. He caught the cold narcissism by having her stand in a provocative stand. She's dressed in a black low-cut dress that contrasts her skin. Her head is turned to the left so that there is no eye contact when you look at her. One can look up and admire her beauty, but there is no inner reaction. Sargent has captured the beguiling seduction of narcissism. The splashy entry backfired. There was controversy and scandal. Sargent's commissions dried up, and he left France for England. He kept the painting for 30 years, and then he sold it to the New York Met in New York, where it hangs today. Of the painting, he said, "I suppose it is the best thing that I have done." quote from Smithsonian, written by Stanley Feisel. His next big project is Carnation, Lily, Lily, Rose. It's a hard painting to do because he paints it outside. He's trying to catch the dying light at twilight. The girls are in the center of the picture, are clearly defined. The flowers, the small flowers, are not so defined. This is part representational, part impressionist painting. The flowers in the background are large, which makes them come to the fore, and there's grass that's stretching up towards the girls. Gives the illusion that the garden is trying to embrace these girls. There is no subject matter in this painting. If there is a theme, it is the dying light that stretches across the painting. At this point in time, English society is very skeptical of the Impressionist movement in France. Yet, when Sargent submits this painting, it is widely accepted. It is the beginning of the English accepting Impressionism. The painting is bought by the British government, and at one point they even offered an honor to him, but he refused because he wanted to retain his American citizenship. In 1914, war broke out, and the government, British government, asked him to do some paintings. Gas is somewhat jarring when you first looked at it. It looks like there's crumpled and dead men at the front of it, but closer inspection reveals that they are trying to recuperate from a gas attack. To the far left and in the distance, you can see the medical tents, and to the right, there's a game going on. It's either rugby or perhaps soccer. The men are trying to deal with the horror of war. And then to the far right, there's another column of men coming up for medical assistance. And if you look at the horizon, you can see a setting sun. And to the far upper right of the painting, there is an aerial dogfight going on. The relentless logic of war goes into the last light. These men are facing a deadly cauldron. They are trying to retain their humanity as they comfort one another and offer words of comfort and play sport. The indomitable human spirit prevails. The painting is a masterpiece. It hangs in the Imperial War Museum. Sargent died in 1925, and his reputation diminished quite a bit. He was a prolific artist. He painted hundreds of watercolors and oil on canvas and hundreds of charcoal sketches. He did paint a lot of portraits of high society, the movers and shakers. His critics said he was a overly talented painter who was making money off the well-to-do. They accused him a lot, but they never said he was lazy. Sargent had a way of capturing a person's personality in portrait. The writer Stevenson is pacing his room, twirling with his mustache, and it captures the nervous energy of the man. Sargent is recording the good and the bad in these portraits. He was not afraid of breaking convention, or at least bending a little bit from the provocative pose of Madame X to the Stevenson's wife laying on a couch like a sack of potatoes. Sargent's reputation is now going through a strong revival. Some say he is the greatest painter of all time, and not just of his era. This is always debatable. Sargent, at one time, declared that he was not going to do any portrait painting. He got pretty tired of it. But it will be that mountain of work that is going to get looked at and reevaluated because it reflects back our shared humanity.